I call this meeting to order. Good morning to you all. This is the GRF Board Directors, Golden Rain Foundation, Laguna Woods, a California nonprofit benefit corporation. Today is Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. It's just past 9:30, and we are live on TV. Do we have any media present today? I don't think so, but they are somewhere in the cloud, lurking around there. Excellent. So it's time for Pledge of Allegiance. I call on Director Steve Leonard to please lead us.
Begin. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Next, we have approval of the agenda. I ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
I have a question.
Yes.
I believe you guys have to remove an item from the agenda
Before we approve the agenda? I mean,
before you approve it,
before-
yes.
Okay. So before we approve the agenda, I ask that we remove item 12C because that is not required to be on the agenda. Okay. So what's next now?
We need a motion and a second.
Okay. So now we need a motion to approve the agenda. Thank you. The amended agenda.
I move to approve the amended agenda.
That's Allison. Do I have a? Thank you. Here's Steve. Thank you. Martin, is there something you want to say? We are okay. We can talk about whatever you had to when you come in. Can you talk?
Looks like it froze.
Okay. So we have a first and a second on the motion. All in favor?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Hello?
I can't hear you. Whoever you are, come forward.
Hello? Push?
Yes.
I'm sorry. So sorry. 12C, what did that have to do with?
Nothing. We just removed it off the agenda for the moment, and we will deal with it later. So,
But what did it have to do with?
nothing. It's that item which says position of facilities manager, and it doesn't need to be on the board pack.
We don't
I'll-
need to discuss it in an open,
No.
an open,
No.
Meeting?
I'll have a conversation with you when you come in.
okay.
All right.
Very well then. Yeah, because you talked about it earlier. Okay, thank you.
Sure, sure. Who's calling? Hi, Gary.
I would like to add under committee reports, a report from the Energy Committee.
Okay, when the,
It's there already.
it's.
It was?
Yes, under 14D sub 1.
I missed it then, thank you, sorry.
Okay. So with that, can we approve the agenda with the amended? Okay. Okay, if there's no other changes, then the agenda is approved. Next item is approval of the minutes. We have two past meetings. So motion to approve the minutes of the past two meetings. Allison and Ellen, thank you. If there's no other changes, then these minutes are approved. Thank you. Report of the chair. Okay, do I have something to announce? Yes, I do. Number one, this board is almost 3 months since we've been doing this, and I'm really excited. We've been happy to announce that we have so much accomplished and so much more to do. So that is the number one thing. The other is I want to remind all the residents that to please enroll in the senior mobility program through our city of Laguna Woods. I would like to raise this flyer again to be on television so that if you have missed it, please go to the city of Laguna Woods and enroll in this program. It's a taxi program, which is really a good way to travel if you really need the buses. This will take you from door to door. For a small amount of $5, you would go visit your friend instead of changing buses and have to change more than once. So this is a very good program to be in. So strongly recommend you do that. The other is that we are getting close to I don't know if I think we can, because we did announce it when we were on television. I want to talk a little bit about the broadband program that we want to enroll in, or not enroll in, to initiate for our residents, because it makes more sense. With all the failings of our cable service, it would be a good idea to improve it, and it might even be cheaper for us in the long run to have this broadband program. And along with that, our television programming would improve substantially. So it will all be in one package and maybe much cheaper. So, and that is the important word, because people are very conscious that every time we talk about new projects, people feel that we are going to come up with some more expenses for them. And I strongly feel about that too myself. So, no extra fees, better service, and lower costs. Doesn't that sound excellent? Besides that, I also want to congratulate one of our own board members who used to be part of a regional service. He's now being nominated by the president of our country, President Trump, to be the director of the National Labor Relations Board. And I strongly would like to congratulate William Cohen, our board of director, to be in that position. So please support him to be successful in this new endeavor that he's taking. Yes. Yeah. So today he's on his way to Washington, to take over his new position. So congratulations, William, from all of us. Yeah.
Well, has he been approved?
He's been approved and he's up there, so he's now no longer going to be with us, unfortunately, but we'll miss him. But this is his new position. That's what he wants. Yes, congratulations to Bill. And what else did I have to tell you guys? I think that's about it.
Kush,
Yes, sir.
if I may, on the senior mobility program, I'd just like to add that to enroll, you can go to City Hall and you can take a cab to City Hall for free
Yeah.
if you've enrolled in the system. So by all means, get out there, get in the program, and have fun.
Correct, yes. And
It's also on the website, by
there's
the way.
lots of pluses in that. Free ride to City Hall, $25 just to go to airport, and a lot. A 10 miles radius in $5. I think you can't beat that. Is the next best thing as sliced bread, I would say. All right. With that said, let's move forward now. We've approved the minutes. We've done all that kind of stuff. So next is the CEO's report. Madam CEO.
Thank you, President Vada, honorable members of the board. This morning, I want to highlight some key topics in the community, and I want to start with information about Southern California Edison power outages. Obviously, the message is to be prepared. Planned and unplanned power outage can happen at any time. VMS strongly recommends that all residents, especially those who depend on electricity to power medical equipment, register with SCE to receive alerts and updates. Residents are ultimately need to be responsible for their own preparedness, and per the utilities mandate, residents should address all questions and concerns regarding Edison work directly to Edison. You can enroll at sce.com/center/outage-alerts to receive email alerts for power outages that are both planned and unplanned. You can visit sce.com, their website, to view current information, to visit the outage center map, and to check the status of scheduled maintenance outages. You may also call SCE customer service at 800-655-4555 with any questions. I also want to emphasize Edison has a medical baseline allowance program wherein Edison automatically contacts participants in the event of a stage 3 emergency rotating outage. This provides enrollees with an additional 16.5 kilowatts of electricity per day. And you can visit, again, the SCE website and select medical baseline to apply. I also want to touch on questions we are receiving about wildfires. The Orange County Sheriff's Department oversees mass evacuations during disasters, with security services assisting as directed by the Sheriff's Department. Evacuation sites are chosen by the Sheriff's Department. Decisions depend on the situation and can change quickly. Evacuation sites might include schools or large shopping center parking lots. The main goal is always to protect those who have been evacuated. To stay informed about fire events, there are a number of resources available to you. You can visit the Orange County Fire Authority at ocfa.org or on their Twitter page for information. Statewide updates are available at fire.ca.gov/incidents. Residents also should enroll in Alert OC. Again, that's Alert OC. This is the county's mass notification system, and the website is on the screen before you. It is oc.gov/about-county/emergency. OC Alert provides real-time sensitive messages directly to home, mobile, business phones with options for text and email notifications. So we want to make sure that everyone is plugged into the most up-to-date information. Residents are also encouraged to enroll in Code Red. This is the Village Emergency Notification System. This gives us the ability to deliver brief critical alerts via phone, text, or email to our residents. and you can sign up by visiting lagunawoodvillage.com and click Sign Up Today under the red and black Code Red icon located at the bottom right-hand corner of any page. Or you can complete your registration through the resident portal on the internet. Residents who have tree trim or removal requests should contact Resident Services to submit consideration of these requests for tree removal or an off-cycle trim. You can send them to residentservices@vmsinc.org via email or call the Resident Services number at 949-597-4600. In terms of vegetation management, I want to share information from our OCFA fire prevention specialist. His name is Nathan Babbitt. And he provided this update to us that I want to share this morning, and it's on the screen before you. To quote Nathan, "The only requirements for vegetation management are in the northwest corner of Laguna Woods along Laguna Canyon Wilderness Park. The area is currently the only part of Laguna Woods labeled as a very high fire hazard severity zone. Therefore, defensible space is enforceable in this portion of the community. The area is inspected annually and was marked compliant for the 2024 inspection season. We are looking to start our 2025 inspections in March, depending on the weather. OCFA, even in the very high fire hazard severity zones, cannot mandate the removal of healthy or mature trees. We ask only that dead or dying trees be removed, and OCFA will not mandate the removal of any living trees. Well-maintained, mature, and watered trees can actually provide ember protection in the event of a wildfire. We can only enforce vertical separation of trees from the ground or vegetation underneath to prevent a ground fire from climbing into a tree." And Kurt, our landscaping services manager, is working to set up meetings with OCFA and each of the boards. So that should be coming, and you can address any questions to OCFA at that time when the meetings are scheduled. Switching topics, the Laguna Woods Art Association exhibit is here. Residents are invited to the community center for the Art Association exhibit. More than 140 works of art adorn the first and third floors of the community center. Each piece is accompanied by a placard listing the artist's name and contact information, artwork title, medium and dimensions, and price if it is available for sale. Starting Friday, February 3rd, residents may vote for their single favorite artwork. An official ballot is available in the lobby. Drop the completed ballot into the lobby ballot box, and the winner will be announced in the What's Up in the Village on Friday, March 7th. The exhibition is open during community center hours, which is 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday. And lastly, we're pleased to announce that AI translation is now available in resident services. VMS offers enhanced communications via an upgraded AI-powered translation tablet. This new technology offers advanced speech-to-speech translation, greatly improving the experience at resident services for our non-English speakers. This also provides faster, more seamless interactions and marks a positive step towards fostering an environment where all residents enjoy a sense of belonging. And with that, I conclude my presentation this morning.
Thank you, Siobhan. Yes, Martin.
Question, Siobhan, thank you for the report. What did Edison, anybody else besides me experience that 15-hour outage that occurred the night before last? What explanation did you hear? Did you hear anything?
I have not heard the reason for that outage.
Yeah, I heard that they had to replace a 100-foot piece of cable from manhole to manhole because the thing just, they said, 60 years old. A connection just fried and burnt open, and they came out that night, but they saw it was a bigger repair, and they had to come out in the morning with the forces, and they took care of it quick.
Yes, we follow those. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Igor.
Yeah, I want to point out that that's not a 60-year-old, it may be 60-year-old cable, but they worked on that thing a year ago. It was outside, it's right up here on Calle Sonora, Oeste, just from this side of Gate 14, and they worked on it before.
You're
For
talking
about-
about two different outages.
This is the outage that
It was in the same manhole cover.
Yeah, but he's
This is
talking
the outage
about,
that occurred the night before
Yeah.
last,
Oh.
between gate 5 and 6.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was
you're talking about the gate 14
Yeah,
outage.
I think it was like units from 21, 22 to
Oh, well, that's-
42.
Different
It
outages.
was about 10 buildings that it affected, including mine.
Yes, Gary.
Siobhan, SAE also has a program where they will provide a backup generator to folks who are medically dependent. So we might make a point of that and see if we can get some of that word out, too.
Okay, thank you.
Ellen?
Do we have power generators at the clubhouses, correct?
Yes, we do, and we run them at the gatehouses if the arms are down due to the power outage.
And the generators at the gatehouse?
Small ones that operate the equipment too.
Okay. And every clubhouse, correct? Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's every clubhouse. We have ones that we can move from clubhouse to clubhouse. I can get you an exact count.
Okay. And the fire, the report we received here, so they said that dry brush in gate 14 was okay? It wasn't a fire hazard?
We passed the 2024 inspection, and they'll be inspecting for 2025. Yes.
Okay. When did they do their inspection?
They do it in the spring of each year. They're going to start in March of 2025. And again, Kurt is scheduling meetings, so you can address your questions specifically to OCFA.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? I know fire is a big topic this year. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sorry for all the people who got affected. Yeah, quite a few people I know got affected. Yeah. All right, so moving right along. It's the open forum time. It's 3 minutes per person. It's a big, long paragraph. I'm not going to read it, but everybody seems to know the rules about it. So, do we have any people who would like to speak to us?
Yes, we have 4 in-person speakers and then one who sent us an email that I'll be reading later. But the first one is Ken Depp.
Say the name again.
Ken Depp.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi.
Deppy.
I have a few photos to share with you. I'm on the Bocce Ball Club, and what we need at the Bocce Ball Club is a pergola over the top of it. And here's the court, and if you look north, the sun just comes right in underneath that shade barrier. So they're perfectly worthless. You can see the pool cover beyond it. Let's see, if you could take out that little X and there. So when you're at one end, you're staring directly into the sun. And it's in the summer, it's tough, you know,
Let him finish.
it's not a pleasant area. So again, this is north is this way, and you can see how the shadows
Only
are.
3 minutes.
Go ahead. So when you're standing at one end of the court, there have been several attempts to do something with the sun, and they came up with these shades. And as you can see, the person standing there is got their head in the shade, and they're getting ready. And now, when she bends over, she's looking right into that blinding sun. Just hold for a second, please. Also, that area, when it's hot, when it's 90 degrees, it's like an oven over there. And it's not, that's very distracting to be sitting there in the shade and then bend down and have that sun just blaring right at you.
Sir, these are good photographs, good explanation, but this information should go to the Community Activities Committee, which actually deals with the Recreation Department before it comes to the board.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean, you have a good presentation.
Well, I'll just finish it up and
Okay,
we'll call
I'll
it a
let you
day.
do that, yes, yes.
So, next photo. There are pergolas around, this is at Clubhouse 7, and they're very pleasant. They let the light in, and the most important, they let the breeze come through. And this is at Los Olivos Shopping Center, and it's something similar to what we would like to do at the bocce ball court. And I'll take my matters to the other committee. Thank you.
Yeah, but this, they will bring it to us after they've decided, they've removed all the ifs and ands and buts, and that's just, then it would come to us.
Was that the recreation?
It's the Recreation Department. It's called Community Activities Committee.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's coming up next week.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much.
Next speaker is David Vinneman.
Who? David Wienerman.
Good morning. You know, President Bada.
Yes, sir.
Honorable directors. It is good to be here this morning. I have missed you guys. I really have, and particularly my friends on staff. I miss going up to the second floor. At any rate, what I'm here for, this is probably another matter for the CAC, but let me just give a brief synopsis. This is a little Bluetooth speaker, and over at Pool 4, there are two swimmers. I happen to be one of them, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, and we become the sort of pool DJs. And we basically put on very middle-of-the-road music, no death metal, for everybody at the pool, and we both get a lot of thank yous. But we had a situation a couple of weeks ago where one person at the pool objected to music. Isn't that the way it happens, right? And I want to give a shout-out. I want to give a kudo to the lifeguard, Sophia, who she handled it beautifully. And she ought to get an F girl for that. She did a really good job. At any rate, I'll take it to CAC, and my request is that CAC and the board consider perhaps moderating the policy just a little bit so that swimmers who like music, and it's the overwhelming majority, because people come up every day and say thanks, so they can have a little bit of music and we can all have a little bit of fun over there. Thank you for your time, and I'll take it to CAC next week. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, David.
You bet.
I appreciate it.
Next speaker is Doug David.
Yeah, hi, good morning. Today's subject is Clubhouse 1 driving infractions, namely illegal left-hand turns occurring. Two people are going the wrong way on a one-way street pathway. That will be synonymous in this lecture. Drivers are not stopping for the stop sign before they make the illegal left, and also speeding. Geographically, let's get a little bit oriented. As you come off of Calle Aragon to the right-hand side, there are three parking areas. The first one we'll call parking lot 1. The second is the middle one, parking lot 2. And parking lot 3 is near the bocce court. On the other side of the island is the bigger parking lot, which is parking lot 4. And all the way in the back where the gym is, that's parking lot 5. There is one pathway off of these lots 1, 2, and 3 that lead to the gym area. There is no exit for this particular parking lot, so these cars must exit how they entered. There is a semicircle with an island at Clubhouse 1, which you all should be familiar with, that leads to the main clubhouse area. At the beginning of the island, there is a beginning of the island meaning near Aragon, all right? There is a solid yellow double line which starts at the island and it ends at Collier Aragon. The majority of the cars from parking lots 2 and 3 are exiting the clubhouse by making a right turn out of 2 and 3 and making another right into parking lot 3, which is the first parking lot. And they approach the stop sign. The cars in parking lot 1 back out and go directly to the stop sign. The cars from the gym exit on that pathway previously mentioned, and they make a right onto lot 3. And they're sort of literally hopping it up, speeding. And they approach the stop sign. By the way, this was speeding sign, it says 10 miles per hour, and that sign is seen back by the pool, in the back lot. All the cars then make the illegal left-hand turn instead of making a right-hand turn to navigate the semicircle to approach Collier Aragon to exit the clubhouse. Infractions and safety concerns, we already spoke about the infractions that are occurring. Drivers getting, people are pulling into the parking lot 3 area off of Collier Aragon. This is a safety issue. Could have an accident with the car making the illegal left that's crossing the double line.
Mr. David, is there a point you're trying to make because you're out of time?
That was 3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Oh, really? All right. Fine.
You've given us a lot of traffic information, but I don't know if anybody got a point that you're trying to make. Okay.
Yeah.
I do bocce ball, so I'm real familiar with the area and what you're talking about. And I got to admit, I'm making them left-hand turns too. And nothing's going to stop it, I don't think, unless we put some barriers, some bollards or whatever.
You need signage. You need signage.
Well, signage isn't going to slow much of anybody down. I'm sorry. I live by 2 right-hand turns that nobody slows down for the stop signs. If you really wanted to stop it, you'd
do you
have to put
guys
bollards
want to meet at a different time?
Sure.
Huh?
Sure.
Fine.
Why don't you take his name and number from?
There you go.
Let's go to the traffic committee.
Yeah.
Got it.
And sorry.
You want to send this to the security committee so that they can look into it and make a recommendation?
That would make sense.
The mobility committee.
Yeah, I was gonna look there on February 26th. I think they have a meeting, of February 24th. They have a meeting at the end of the month. But if it's 3 minutes, it's like.
I understand, but this is not the venue for this kind of thing.
Okay, well, like you said, I'm here 4 years, and a lot of things weren't told to me when I moved here.
I'm sorry, but
here,
we're trying our best to make certain changes which are brought up by residents like you.
Nothing's, like I said, nothing's going to stop until someone gets killed
Okay.
or has an accident.
No, we'll change it.
Okay.
Talk
All right.
to Gary
Thanks
and
a lot.
maybe Steve.
Wait to hear from you, Gary.
Go to security committee.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Martin.
I just wanted to make another note that people coming forth, you got to know that a lot of the work is done at the committee level.
Yeah.
And that's where you need to bring these items to. And once it's gone through committee and because that's where the whole, the corporate membership is represented. And, once they've come up with something and that needs to go to the board, then we'll take it from there. But
Correct.
yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, we don't want to disappoint you, but this is the system, the way it works, because otherwise we'll have 18,000 people over here asking for 18,000 different things. So thank you for bringing this up. Appreciate it.
Next speaker is Richard Rader.
Good morning, Dick Rader, 270D. At a GRF media meeting, I think it was last week, I congratulated them, the staff, because they have produced very excellent articles on why we should be stopping at stop signs. But then I asked them, have you informed the residents in any way of the new fine? No, was the answer. So I was really excited when I got the What's Up in the Village this week. And there was an article, great article. But then it said, click here if you want to know what the fines are. So you click on it, and then what happens is you have to sign in. Your name and your password and all of that. And the point I want to make is this. There was a reason why the fine for stop signs changed. And I think it's important to let people know, and I'll let them know right now, for the few people who might be watching, and also for the board if you're not familiar. It used to be $50, or you had a choice. You could go to, I think it was a traffic seminar or something. But now it's been raised to $200. And there's multiples of that if there's multiple offenses. I think it's really important in terms of just transparency to just come out and say it. Let people know. Because I'll tell you what I'm doing now. Every time I approach a stop sign, I'm thinking, I do not want to pay $200. And so my foot is on that brake pedal. And so in the interest, and I will just say this, one last point. I could just imagine somebody getting caught. And they come and they say, but you didn't tell me. It wasn't fair. Let's just let people know what we did and why. Thank you.
Yes.
All the fee schedules are part of the annual mailing that went out in November, just as an FYI. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Oh, yeah.
As someone who lives, as I said earlier, right by two stop signs that are ignored many, many more times than they are followed, including, by the way, two of the largest vehicles that you would ever see from the water district about 3 days ago that blew through there and didn't even kind of slow down, taking both of them off of Sosiega and at Bahia Blanca, didn't even tap their brakes. What I would suggest, if we want to get the word out, is that we mount a small sign under the stop signs that we know are getting run all the time and say, current fine for running stop sign, $200. And that way people will know it. Putting it in a mass mailer is going to be ignored more than it's ever going to be seen. What? $200 violation. Right. And just put that right under the stop sign. It'll make people think about it.
Let's discuss it.
Question.
Yes.
Could you bring it up to security? And we can take it from there. And again, I just want to state for everybody here, when we take member comments, we're supposed to take all the members' comments and not get into a conversation and wait until the comments are finished. And then if any of the directors want to address any issues, they have an opportunity to do so.
Yeah,
Just-
we will miss somebody.
just again.
We will miss somebody in this manner.
Well,
Yeah. Anyway, who is next?
Elizabeth Morris.
Elizabeth.
I don't have a copy of the agenda, and I don't know if this is on the agenda, but I wanted to speak to you about the bus service locally in our village. There was that was the main reason I bought here 15 years ago, and I have used it, and it's been a marvelous service. I'm concerned because the other day I had an experience that really stunned me. A bus pulled up, and I recognized it was not the usual configuration. And it turned out that the driver had to get out and put the ramp out physically. It was a new situation where the door for the ramp swings that brings out, and then they have to pick it up, put it over to the sidewalk or wherever it goes, so that people who use sheets like I use to get up the ramp. And there are many, many people, and this is the issue, there are many people who use that Now, I know not one of you came on the bus today like I did. That's why I was late, because the bus doesn't start till 9 o'clock. I got here at 10:15, and I had to take 2 buses. So people who use that bus service, and if you ride those buses ever to even talk to the people, you'll learn a lot of information about what's going on in this community that you're not happy about, and they're not happy about. But at any rate, the bus driver had to do that. Then he had to lock it all up, get into his seat again. And I was stunned that he had to do the service to set up the bus that was built for our service in the community. And I've been arguing I talked with one this morning, and he says that the community and the state have a rule that drivers of these buses are immune from any legality of issues. Now, I don't know. So one of you must be chairman of some committee that goes into this. But anyhow, I want to bring that issue up because there are, the other thing that astonished me was when after I got into the bus, there were no seats on the floor. They have steps inside the bus for people who cannot drive and are absolutely, they are really at the mercy, I have to say, of the bus driver. And the bus drivers, I cannot commend them enough. They are admirable in their service to the people that they help on the bus. You cannot believe what they do for those people. And there are people, you step up, I mean, who thinks of having to ride a senior citizen bus that has steps in it? I think, I'm speechless. And I've been seething about it over the whole weekend because it just is so incongruous with the community purpose to make, if you want to do away with the bus service, do it in a dignified, professional way. Announce in so many years there's not going to be bus service. And anybody that comes in understands that when they can no longer drive, every transportation is their own personal responsibility. Taxi service in this community is very iffy.
Elizabeth, we are out.
Very iffy.
We are
and
out.
I have been,
Elizabeth?
I cut out using the paid ones because they charged me a no-show fee, but they never came to pick me up.
Elizabeth, we are out of time.
As a time? I'm sorry. Well, I hope that you understand.
We do.
This is a critical issue that I think the liability for the residents and the GRF
We'll work
should
on
be
it. Thank you.
thoroughly exhausted. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next speaker is Marie Collins.
I just want to point out a very positive thing that's happening this morning, and that is, Doug, I want you to know that even though we just have 3 minutes, and this makes us, members come up and say, most people don't know that they should go to the committees. But I saw all of you, when there's something that you see needs discussing, you know where to take it to those committees. And I want to thank you for doing that. And I want to thank you for pointing out that's where we have the deep discussions, is in the committees. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. I appreciate it. Thank you, Martin.
And then we have one from Chris Collins that she sent a letter to for me to read. She stated, I'm here to give an update on the work of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village that we do on behalf of residents experiencing temporary financial emergency. Who are we? Do you know us? Do you know the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village, what it does? Do you confuse it with GRF, the Golden Rain Foundation? Sometimes I feel that the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village may be the best kept secret in the village. Many residents are unaware of how the foundation can help them if they are experiencing a financial problem. Many don't know that there is help right here in the village. In brief, the foundation has been the village's very own charity for the past 27 years, its safety net, to help residents who are experiencing financial issues. This financial help is obtained by contacting social services at 949-597-4267, which assesses the need for help and then contacts the foundation to provide that financial help. Resident identities are kept confidential, and the foundation does not know who it is helping. The financial help provided by the foundation can take many forms. The simplest form of help is that the foundation will pay a bill for a resident to address their need. It can be a high Edison bill, a caregiver bill, or a hearing aid repair. Financial help might also come in the form of grocery or gas cards to get a resident out of a tight spot. For those who are at risk of falling, financial help may be the foundation renting an emergency response device. For residents with limited financial resources, help might be purchasing a hearing aid for them. Scholarships are also available for daycare services and for residents without transportation. The foundation provides free transport once a month to the local food pantry. Earthquake disaster kits can be obtained, and a care ambulance contract might be arranged. How do you find out if you qualify for financial assistance or can benefit from one of the foundation's specialty programs? A resident only has to go to social services, which is located in the rear of the community center on the first floor. Trained staff can also be reached at 949-597-4267, who will explain how to qualify for such temporary emergency assistance. If financial assistance is provided, the foundation pays the bill directly for the resident. Help us get the word out. If you would like a foundation representative to speak to your group, or if you have a way we can reach more people with this information, please contact the foundation at 949-268-2246 or foundation@comline.com. For more information about the foundation, please go to our website at foundationoflagunawoodsvillage.org. Please note that donations can always be made using PayPal or the foundation website. And that is all for open forum speakers.
Thank you. Thank you to Chris Collins. She's always here to give us some fabulous information and also for our benefit of our residents. Okay. With that, do we have to respond to any of these, or did we?
Stephen's got it.
Yes, Steve.
I will take Elizabeth Morris' concerns to the M&V committee meeting, which I chair and is being held in a couple of days. So thank you very much for letting us know.
Okay.
Yeah.
We somebody? Yes.
Yeah. Elizabeth, is that just one bus, or is that every bus?
I don't know, Ellen.
Okay.
I know
curious.
it was a new bus today. So
Okay.
it was a different model than the one I rode last week. So they have come in a variety. And I don't even know how many have come. But I think we need to know how many came. And are they a liability? I mean, the bus I rode on the other day, there are people that I see getting on the bus every week. There's no way they could ride that bus.
Okay.
Because
All right.
if
Thank
the
you.
driver can't service them.
Yes.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
We will talk to the director of this department.
I will come to your meeting, Mr. Director, may I?
Sorry?
Could you tell me what I-
No, he's not here.
It's Thursday, isn't it? Thursday at
Yes.
1?
I think Thursday the 6th, 1:30.
I will come to that meeting if you want to know
Would be
why.
nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's-
Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
So
It's Thursday at 1, I'm pretty sure, 1:30.
yeah. I see that we addressed almost everything that was brought to our attention, and yeah. So if we can move forward to the next item. Consent calendar. We have an item on consent calendar. If we can get a motion to approve it, normally consent calendar would approve everything on it, but today we have only one item.
I'll move.
That's Steve, thank you. Allison seconds. If there's no objection, then the consent calendar is approved. Thank you. We have nothing on the unfinished business. Next item is new business, and that is update committee assignments. Can we get we may have to make changes for the things that we've been talking about, but currently, let's approve this committee assignments, and looking for a motion to approve that. Anybody?
Well, I'll make a motion to approve it.
Yeah, he's got to read the.
But,
Oh, yeah,
but if
sorry.
we're going to make changes, can we make the changes before we read it?
No, we can't.
As we read it, we can make the.
No, we can't make the changes I am talking about because, yeah, there's a reason for that.
Let him read it then.
Okay, go ahead and read it, please. Are you going to read this whole 4 pages?
No. Just to change. So I'm going to read the committee chairman and any changes that we made. Okay, Resolution 90-25-XX, GRF Committee Appointments, resolved February 4th, 2025, that the following persons are hereby appointed and ratified to serve on committees of this corporation. Community Activities Committee. Kush Bada has been removed as chair. He's alternate. Ellen Leonard will be the chair. Brad Reinhardt has been removed as alternate. Brian Reinhardt is a member. He's no longer alternate. And Peter Sanborn has been removed. Sue Stevens is his replacement. He's no longer an alternate. And advisor Roland Boudreau has been removed. Finance Committee, William Cohen, chairman. Martin Rosa, removed as alternate. Andy Oconocchio, alternate GRF. Moon Young has been removed from third. Craig Wayne removed from third. Donna Ray Sostak replaced for third, and Howard Fox for third. And Peter Sanborn again has been removed for alternate mutual 50, and Sue Stevens has been added. Information Technology Advisory Committee, ITAC. Kush Bada removed as alternate. Gary Durst replaces him as alternate for GRF. Landscape Committee. Kush Bada removed as chair, becomes alternate. Brad Reinhardt is chair. Allison Bach removed as alternate and is a member. Riza Karimi removed for third. Donna Rain Sostak has been replaces him for third. Sue Stevens removed from Mutual 50 as an alternate. Maintenance and Construction Committee, Brad Reinhardt, chair. Peter Sanborn, Mutual 50, removed. Media and Communications, Allison Bach, chair. Gary Durst, removed. Ellen Leonard replaces him. Craig Wayne, removed from third. Howard Fox replaces him. Peter Sanborn removed from Mutual 50. Sue Stevens replaces him. Broadband Ad Hoc Committee. Kush Bada has been added. William Cohen removed. Peter Sanborn removed. Sue Stevens removed as alternate. Jim Breach has been added as Mutual 50. And advisors, Jim Cook has been added. Juanita Skillman has been removed. Mobility and Vehicles. Nancy Carlson removed from United. Stephen Leonard is chair. Nancy Carlson removed as United. Anthony Liberatore replaces her. Peter Sanborn removed as Mutual 50. Security and Community Access. Egon Garthofner, chair, and Peter Sanborn, Mutual 50, removed. Disaster Preparedness Task Force. Eric Nunez, chair, co-chair. Martin Rosa, co-chair. Monahara Montawi is now full member, replaced as alternate, and Andy Ginocchio is alternate for GRF. Peter Prater is an alternate for United, and Anthony Liberatore is United member, is United representative. And Vijay Kale, alternate, removed for United. And among the advisors, Bruce Bonbright has been removed. Laguna Woods Village traffic hearings, chairs will alternate between the boards. And we have S.K. Park is added as an alternate for third. Robert Muchnick is removed as alternate, becomes a regular member. Maggie Blackwell is an alternate for United. And Vijay Kale is now a full member. Sue Stevens removed as alternate Mutual 50, and Glenn Miller becomes a Mutual 50 representative. Select Audit Ad Hoc Committee. There's been a name change. This used to be Select Audit Task Force. William Cohen, Chair. Allison Bach, GRF. William Cohen, Chair. Peggy Moore removed from third, and Candace Tisdale is the VMS third representative. Executive Hearing Committee. William Cowan, Andy Ginocchio is for GRF. Ellen Leonard is an alternate, and Kush Bada has been removed. There's no chairman for this committee. Space Planning Ad Hoc Committee. Kush Bada, Chair. Egon Garthofner added. Andy Ginocchio added. S.K. Park removed. Riza Karini replaces him. Robert Muchnick as a new member for third. And Peter Sanborn is removed from Mutual 50. Energy Ad Hoc Committee. Gary Durst, Chair. Andy Ginocchio is a new member, and Allison Bach has been removed. The Revenue Generating Ad Hoc Committee has had a name change. It is not Revenue Generating Committee, it's not under Finance. Allison Bach is the chair, and Kush Bada has been added. El Toro, no changes in the rest of the
Have a motion to approve the changes to the committee selection? Second? Discussion?
Kush,
Yes.
we have a lot to cover here. I want to start with my committee, Mobility and Vehicles. And what is not listed here is that Maggie Blackwell has been removed from United, and she's been replaced by Jean Costello.
By who?
Jean Costello.
Okay.
Did you say
Jeanne.
Jane?
Janie.
Is it Jean or Jeanne? Jean Costello. That was verbally confirmed to me directly by Miggy Choi.
I think that there was a change recently with the United directors on your committees. However, they haven't approved that at their United meeting, and that won't be until next week formally. So that's why those changes aren't reflected on this month's committee assignments, because we have to go through that formal process to be able to record everything.
Sorry, my mistake. And the other thing is that on the Finance Committee, since William will no longer be here,
That will happen
we can't-
later.
we
We
can't-
haven't received his
Yeah, we haven't received-
resignation.
oh,
Yeah, we haven't received his resignation yet,
So
so.
that's
okay.
why- Yeah.
Never mind.
So that's why I didn't bring it up. Sorry about that. And William is in many different places, so we will have to make all the changes later. That will happen next month. So.
Yeah, that's true.
So we have a motion and a second? No objections? Okay, so it passes. Thank you. Next item is what is the next item, Egon? Number B, entertain a motion to develop a position of the Inspector General. It's an oral discussion. So do we need a motion, Shaban, for an oral discussion?
No. We're just going to have a discussion.
So no motion to add.
Just a motion to discuss.
You could discuss the item, but if you want to develop the position, that a motion would need to be made at that
Okay.
point.
So do we want to discuss it? Yes. Okay, go ahead. Let's do that. Yes, Martin.
I wish Bill was here. But no, and this is a position that we've been talking about that would report to the board.
Correct.
If I'm not mistaken. And that, but with, I think there'd be assistance from the staff in recruiting that position. Is that correct?
I guess.
Just throwing it out there.
Not sure.
Do we have a write-up of these, we have something there?
We got it this morning.
Guess he wrote it.
That's a good idea.
Okay. Excuse me.
That it this morning.
So this,
How did you receive it?
Email. You didn't get it?
I have what he gave it.
well, I'm waiting for the conversation to stop over here.
Well, I didn't receive
Oh, okay.
the job description, so
Yeah, I sent it to everybody.
you sent it? Okay.
I thought we were going to talk to well, okay, so this is the first blush run through, and it is with the help of Chat GPT. I was not going to go out there and say I know how to pick a inspector general. I made a couple of runs through to clean it up a little. So we'll just go through really quickly here. The position overview. Inspector General serves as an independent officer responsible for ensuring accountability, transparency, efficiency in the operation of the HOA and its service company, VMS. The IG reports directly to the HOA boards of directors, and operates with full access to relevant records, personnel, and facilities. Okay. Key responsibilities. 1, oversight and monitoring. Well, I'm not sure that I should read every sub heading because it gets kind of bleary-eyed by the time we're finished. Do you kind of agree with that? And I'll just give the main topics. The first one is oversight and monitoring.
Excuse me, may I insert a point of order? That was not presented to us, the residents, in the agenda packet. You have a way of putting it up here so we could see it?
Well,
I don't-
you mean this
No,
doesn't report?
I asked President Bada for
No,
items to attach to the agenda packet, but this was labeled as an oral discussion, so
yeah, that's right.
We were not going to read this whole thing, that's why.
No, I'm just going to read the headings.
Just the headings, yes. Sorry, Dick.
So, now number 1 is oversight and monitoring. And the second one is investigations and reporting, the process improvement, stakeholder engagement, and risk and strategic assessment. Okay. The qualifications would be a bachelor's or a master's degree in business law or related fields, and at least 10 years experience in compliance and an organizational oversight, and a strong understanding of HOA governance and analytical skills, and a proven ability to work independently at a high standard of ethical standards. And he will report directly to the board of directors and maintains independence from VMS and operational staff. So just a general, I had the machine give me a suggested implementation plan. Planning phase, 1 to 2 months, which includes role definition, budget allocation, and policy framework. Phase 2 is recruitment, takes 2 to 3 months, candidate search, selection process, appointment. Phase 3 is onboarding and initial assessment, 3 to 4 months. And that would include orientation, resource allocation, initial assessment. And phase 4 would be full implementation, ongoing operational oversights, reporting, and continuous improvement. The directors have a copy of this, and if you want to, we can have copies made for anybody that's interested.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, Al?
So,
Will the IG report to GRF board or some other board?
the GRF board, yes.
Andy.
Any other conversations? Yes, Gary?
And he would be an independent contractor, he or she?
Pardon me?
Yeah, an independent contractor that reports to the
Yes,
board, correct? Okay.
Well-
Not a VMS employee.
Right.
Yes, Andy.
Let's be clear about this. What legal entity
Sorry?
will pay for this position? What financial statement is this going to show up on, assuming it happened? Is it a GRF cost?
GRF, yes.
So it's on the GRF operating statement. As far as, is this position an independent contractor or is it an employee?
Where did he go?
So it's an independent contractor?
Right.
Okay.
Independent.
So we're talking about a contractual thing where GRF board would contract for a period of time with a person for this position. Okay.
I'm not very clear with this arrangement. Actually, this may need a more clarification and discussion, according to me. That's my personal feeling, but it is a board decision, so we will all have to discuss this more further. One moment,
Thank
Gary,
you.
let him finish. Anything else, Andy? Okay. Yes, Gary.
Siobhan, I would like to see from your folks an evaluation on this as to how you would see that this crosses over other audits that are being done currently, pluses, minuses, back and forth. This really was Bill's issue. He was the one that brought this up. He was the one that was adamant that we needed to do this. And quite frankly, I think a lot of the rest of us are like, maybe it's a good idea, maybe it isn't.
We would appreciate that opportunity. Again, this has not been shared with us. We've not been engaged in this conversation at all. So given the opportunity, we'd be happy to do so.
Let's go in a line. So, Ellen.
I think it's important that we maintain the concept of it, that it reports to the GRF board and independent contractor. And do we have a motion on the table? No.
No.
It's just discussion.
So, well, don't we have to discuss after we make the motion? No? Okay, all right. Okay.
Yes, Alison.
It's important that we define what problems we're trying to solve here. What would this job help us to improve as a managing board? So part of the analysis on this has to be an analysis of what we are trying to resolve, what we're trying to improve, what we're trying to solve, and recognizing that it may be more than one person, it might be a number of people that fill the job depending on the problem on hand. That's my observation on that. But it clearly belongs now back to VMS, to HR to help us define this, my book.
Good. Yes, Steve first and Egon second.
So William's not here. He can't speak to this, but in our conversations that we've had, all of us within the board regarding this Inspector General, I believe the main focal point in the desire to have this position is that given the amount of responsibilities that this board has as trustees for all the myriad of buildings and amenities and costs and stuff, we spend a lot of money, and we have a management agreement with VMS. There have been occasions when things have been implemented to be tasks to be performed, services to be rendered, that the outcome has not been to the level that we thought that it should rise to. And the way that we as a board and as a trust can do a better job in working with our management company is to have a professional who can say, this job was done, these are the things that could have been done better, to start putting those kind of policies into place with the managing agent, so that when something doesn't come out as well as we would like it at the next project, whether it be parking lot lights or flooring in a clubhouse during a renovation or whatever the case may be, that we don't have that issue again on that issue. And there have been a number of these, particularly in very large-scale, expensive jobs, like the renovation of Clubhouse 1 and Clubhouse 2 in sound mitigation, flooring, and the like. And even though it's been, years between a renovation of one location and another, something that did not go well in the first one, we had the same problem in the second one. So we're missing some things. We're not learning from the issues that are coming up to us. And yes, it's going to cost money, and we're going to have to figure out how to budget that and how much money that's going to be. And that's going to be solely a GRF responsibility, because this is a position that would be reporting to the board, and it would be an independent contractor and not a VMS employee. So that's my understanding of the situation.
Yes, Igor.
Yeah, I want to point out, just when I read the initial go-through, remember the second part that I read out was the implementation plan. And phase one of that is a planning phase for 1 to 2 months for us to meet and discuss and lay things out. And 3 things we will do in that is, one is role definition, exactly what's going to be. Finalize the job description, establish reporting lines. Number 2, budget allocations, and we'll have to work that out. And then 3 is framework, a policy framework, develop policies and procedures governing the IG's work. And so we have a couple of months to do this. We're not planning, we don't need to do this here today, nor do we need to come to any kind of conclusion. We may make any number of changes, but I think in our initial discussion of this, which was in our last closed meeting, I thought as soon as William brought it up, I said, this is really a really good idea for something that I've been worried about for a long time, that we are voting on things and doing stuff that we don't have a full understanding of. And in addition to that, another thing was brought up for a technical manager of sorts to help out with other situations. So this is a 2-pronged thing that we're looking at in order to improve our decision-making. And we don't have to do it today. Thank you.
we did have some solution on that, and, yes, Martin, you,
Yeah, real quick, so we're talking about a motion to develop this position, and we're having a discussion about it, but we really do agree with Gary, that we need VMS's input on what they think about how this can come about, because their opinion, I would think, really matters in as far as developing the role. That's my point. But the thing of it is what I don't think this position will, it's like our concerns about, like, we're going to start looking over the next months about the 26 budget and the capital expenditure budget. We don't need a bunch of inflated numbers coming at us. We need some education in those numbers to, and I don't believe this position will, maybe this position can handle some of that. But it's just there needs to be a closeness there between us and the finance staff about getting accurate numbers to us about capital expenditures, because I don't want to see inflated numbers. You follow me?
Ellen, and then Gary.
We're not talking about finance all the way here. We're talking about an appointment that will strengthen our commitment to the governance and our fiduciary responsibility to promote resident trust. There is a mistrust happening in the village. And this has to
You just said fiduciary.
Yes, fiduciary,
and
and there is a mistrust in the village about
Well, that
some of
brings
the
in
things.
money.
Let's talk about, broadband's going to bring in money? Let's talk about maintenance and construction. We need to have some oversight there. We need to have, to rebuild
We are
the
now-
trust,
We don't need to get into the
investigation,
weeds of
audits.
things.
This is
What?
happens in the next month, 2 months.
I think it's
In-
a
in-
month,
in
2 months,
separate-
it's
in
going to be
separate meetings, I
take too
think.
long.
We need to get into a kind of a committee-style meeting to discuss this further and come up with it. We don't want to solve every problem today in this meeting. Yeah, I would think. We won't be able to. We will
No,
not get there.
no.
Yeah. Yes, Gary.
That's what I was going to suggest is we need another ad hoc committee. We need some structure that is going to address this issue rather than it just floats around.
Correct, yeah. So if we want to set something up, we can do it now or later.
We can do that now, yeah.
Okay, so if you want to set
We
up
can
a
make a
small
motion to,
ad hoc style committee or a task force or whatever you want to call it, so we can have set, if you want,
Yeah.
whatever you want to do.
With staff's input.
So,
No, well, we
Make
can
a
set
motion.
up a committee without input. Not for the committee.
Why?
make a motion.
I move that we establish a ad hoc committee to investigate the efficacy of hiring an independent Inspector General.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, there's 2 seconds, yeah, Manohar and Martin.
Discussion now.
Discussion, yes, Dick?
I have a quick question on just what was raised. Would that be a open committee meeting? Would that be
Can't
an
hear you.
open committee in which you can have advisors on from,
Still struggling with the concept yet.
well,
1 second, is it an ad hoc committee? Can we have advisors on it? Yes.
Of course.
Could go either way. Yeah.
that's excellent. I agree with that, because I just want to raise a couple of things about this that occurred to me. I know that there are issues that were just raised right now, and that, and there is mistrust in the community, but mistrust in the community is perhaps with lack of information. I had a person recently, a friend, say, EMS board, they don't know what they're doing, they charge too much, they hired the wrong people. I said, could you give me some examples? They couldn't. It's just their thought, their suspicion. Okay, well, here's my thought. Before this meeting, I spoke to a board member. I said, why do we need this? They gave me an example, and Steve brought up a similar example. They both pointed to the fact that in Clubhouse 1, unfortunately, there were some things that occurred. The sound mitigation, some water that I believe is occurring in the showers, and then because of the flooring, it's then traveling a little bit into some other areas where it shouldn't. I would ask you this. An inspector general finds things for you. We already know it. So how is the inspector general going to help you correct that? And when you have an inspector general, they usually, I think they're mainly lawyers, maybe CPAs. They're not contractors, so they're not going to be able to look at that, the contract policy, and say, hey, look, they forgot about sound mitigation. So I'm really questioning, the points that were raised by some of the board members for why they want this. And there's another issue. You are entirely going around, it appears with this, our VMS board. What is the VMS board for? Its fiduciary responsibility is not to the boards. Surprise. They have the responsibility to oversight VMS, its operations. And if you have some things, and of course you do, and I do too, you should be interacting with that VMS board and asking them, here's our concerns, what can you do to help us? Let's work collectively together. But to go around and hire an inspector general, and by the way, inspector generals, by the way, I just want to say one thing. Look up what they do. They have subpoena power. They can hire their own staff. Once they're independent, they do what they want to do. They're independent. So don't think that one person is going to come in, solve all your problems, including auditing and all that, and not say, hey, I got to have more staff. I'll have more to say later on, I guess. Thanks.
I would say that I would strongly recommend that you be the advisor on this committee, task force, whatever, all right? And maybe that's what we are trying to do. One second. So we haven't even set up the committee yet. We're still starting. And this is a discussion. So,
It's beyond
and
discussion
your points
now.
are very well taken. It's good to know, yeah.
We're beyond discussion. We've got a motion on the floor.
Okay, so let's call the question to vote on it. Comment where? Marie, okay.
Brad Reinhardt has raised his hand.
I
Brad,
want
do you have
to
a comment?
applaud.
One sec, one at a time.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Marie, sorry about that.
I want to applaud your recognition that you really need to take a good look at your fiduciary responsibility as a trustee. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have Brad online, and Brad, you had something to say?
Yeah, I just had one comment, and it's something I've learned along my career.
Little louder.
Sorry, you get what you inspect, not what you expect. And it's not personal. It's nothing that suggests anything has happened in the past. I think we just need a better job of oversight, and one of those is to be able to inspect work that is done to make sure it's done properly in accordance with codes. And we can't always rely on, the management company to do that. There needs to be a third party that does that occasionally.
Okay.
That's very good.
Okay, question?
Would you please ask the secretary to read the motion so we all understand what's on the floor?
The motion we're voting on is whether or not to create an ad hoc committee to investigate the hiring of a inspector general.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor? It seems like we have a unanimous decision. Thank you. Brad, are you done or you have another
Yeah,
question?
he's got his hand up. He voted yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Appoint the chair, please. Yes, appoint the chair.
So how many people will be on this committee?
Appoint the chair, perhaps.
Allison?
Okay. Would you like to be the chair, Alison?
Thank you. I've got more than enough.
Okay. Sorry? You want to chair?
More experience with M&C stuff in the construction. You know where the devils lie.
I don't mind sharing it.
Okay, Egon wants to,
Presumably, it'll be a couple of months, because that's all we have.
that's all we need to do, yeah. Egon will chair and you will set up the meeting.
Can we discuss it closed, and who wants to be on
You
it?
got to appoint other members.
Do we need to do that right now?
I think we could do that in closed.
Okay, okay. All right, moving along. Inspector General's done. Item C has been cancelled. Item D, entertain a motion to approve. Glasses would help sometimes. Entertain a motion to approve revised Media and Communications Committee name and charter and name change and charter. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you. Second.
Well, the resolution needs to be read by the secretary.
Before we have a second?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the resolution.
Okay.
He reads it, he moves it.
Okay.
Generally what happens.
Okay.
Boy.
12D, agenda 12D.
Huh? Yeah, this is insane. This is interesting. Just a name change, huh? Resolution 90-25-XX, Golden Rain Foundation of Laguna Woods Communication Committee Charter. Whereas the Media and Communication Committee, formerly the Broadband Committee, has been established pursuant to Article 7, Section 7-1-1 of the bylaws of the corporation, and whereas the charter has not been updated since June 4th, 2024, and now therefore be it resolved February 4th, 2025, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby assigns the duties and responsibilities of this communication committee as follows. General responsibility. The committee shall comply with Resolution G-9-95, General Duties of Standing Committees, adopted October 3rd, 1989, as follows. Advise and recommend to the board goals, policies, and expectations in the committee's area of concern and evaluate management's divisional performance. Goals, policies, and expectations should be qualifiable or measurable whenever possible. Ensure mutual understanding between the committee and management regarding approved goals, policies, and expectations. Monitor and assess the extent and quality of operational performance within the committee's scope of responsibilities. Align board expectations, management performance, and resident experience to achieve optimal congruence. Seek the most efficient cost-benefit results within the committee's area of responsibility. Review long-term needs of Laguna Woods Village community, including resident facilities, services, and programs within the committee's scope, and provide recommendations to address future requirements. 2, community communication and engagement. The committee shall promote two-way communication within the community through all available mediums, including digital platforms, social media, newsletters, surveys, town halls, and other interactive methods. Ensure communication strategies are inclusive, accessible, and tailored to the diverse demographics of the community. Conduct regular assessment of the community feedback to improve communications services and address unmet needs. Liaison functions. The committee shall serve as liaison between the GRF Board of Directors and Communications Division, the GRF committees and GRF Board of Directors on matters related to the scope of this charter, the GRF Board and Managing Agent to ensure communication services align with intended goals and resident expectations. Oversight of financial and capital resources. The committee shall review capital requirements, service levels, and projected revenue related to the Communications Division and recommend actions to the GRF Board. Evaluation of non-budgeted requests within the committee's scope include those originating from the GRF Board, the Media and Communications Division or CEO, and recommend appropriate actions to the Finance Committee and GRF Board. Oversee the implementation of capital plan projects in alignment with board-approved scopes of work. 5, strategic planning. The committee shall monitor and integrate emerging technologies and trends in media and communications to enhance services and resident experience. Develop and maintain crisis communication plan, ensuring preparedness and effectiveness during emergencies. Advocate for environmentally sustainable practices in all media and communication activities. Training and development. The committee shall facilitate ongoing training and for committee members and staff to stay current with best practices and innovations in media and communications. Promote education within the community regarding Communications Division services and transparency in decision-making processes. 7, reporting and accountability. The committee shall provide regular updates to the board, including progress towards goals, budget adherence, and insights from community feedback. Establish and report on key performance indicators, KPIs, to measure the effectiveness of communication efforts. Recommend updates to this charter every 3 years to maintain its relevance and alignment with community needs. Additional duties. The committee shall perform other responsibilities as assigned by the GRF Board within the Communications Division scope of work. Collaborate with external organizations, media outlets, technology providers to enhance communication services. Resolve further that the Resolution 90-24-27 adopted June 4th, 2024 is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolve further that officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I offer this resolution.
Okay, so we have a move and we have a second, and all in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you very much. And with that, we have completed all our tasks. So the next item is, do we want to take a 5-minute break? Yes. Okay, so it is 11:04. Let's be back at 11:10. Okay. Huh? Allison.
Stephen, take it personal.
Okay, we are now at the committee reports. And the first report is from the finance report. And since Director Cohen is not here, Director Bach is going to substitute and read the report to us.
Thank you, President Vada. And looking at slide 1, this first table includes all revenues and expenses for operating, reserves, and restricted funds through the reporting period of December 31st, 24. So this is a year-end, full-year report that you're looking at, the most important report of the year. GRF had net revenue of $3.2 million with total revenue of $52.7 million and total expense of $49.5 million. GRF was worse than budget by $262,000, with total expenses coming in better than budget by $186,000, offset by a total revenue worse than budget, a shortfall of $448,000. Slide 2, the next table displays the operating fund activities, which excludes non-operating revenues, expenses, and depreciation. This report shows an unfavorable variance, $213,000 through the reporting period, with total expenses better than budget by $258,000, offset by non-assessment revenue worse than budget by $471,000. Slide 3, this slide shows our most significant operating fund variances by category, with green bars representing good news, the favorable variances to budget, and the orange bars representing unfavorable. Favorable from the top, we had employee compensation and related was favorable by over $551,000, primarily, in general services due to various open positions. Landscape furthered the variance due to open gardener position. A partial offset to the compensation savings is found in recreation, as events and operating hours return to pre-pandemic service levels. The 2025 budget was adjusted to reflect this. Next, cable. Cable programming expenses were favorable by $445,000 due to lower rate increases than planned. The 2025 budget is flat. The variance is furthered by less subscribers to pay channels, decreasing the programming costs. The miscellaneous revenue was favorable by $348,000, primarily due to higher electric charging station revenue as a result of an increase in rates that took effect in September 2023. Additionally, clubhouse labor revenues in the Performing Arts Center were higher than budgeted due to the high number of events held by clubs in 2024. Furthermore, demand was higher for personal training and group classes at the fitness center. Materials and supply are next. Favorable by $230,000, mainly in M&C due to less materials and supplies used overall throughout the community. Impacted areas include carpentry, streets, sidewalks, and paint. Last favorable is repairs and maintenance were favorable by $222,000, primarily general services and M&C, due to unspent contingency for unforeseen building repair and maintenance of GRF-owned buildings. Just got lucky there. In 2025, the contingency funding for community center building repair maintenance was reduced based on recent year trends. On the other side, the orange bars, some offsetting unfavorable variances include outside services, unfavorable $538,000, primarily in M&C and landscape. Damage restoration related events were higher than anticipated in 2024. Grounds maintenance outsourced gardener positions as they remain unfilled throughout much of the year. Recruitment is in progress and offset can be found in compensation. Second unfavorable is utilities and telephone were unfavorable by $544,000, primarily due to electricity rates being higher than budgeted. Electricity rates were adjusted in this year's plan. Broadband services were unfavorable by $814,000 due to less political advertising during an election year than anticipated, probably because California was not a state in play. Additionally, clients are allocating more money toward other digital platforms that provide advertising metrics rather than cable TV. In addition, internet revenue was slightly over budgeted, which has been adjusted for the 2025 budget. Finally, revenue for the set-top boxes is lower than anticipated as streaming becomes more popular amongst the community. Slide 4. This slide shows resources of revenue other than the assessments. Okay, thank you. Such as fees and rentals. In 2024, we received almost $11 million, $10.9 million in non-assessment operating revenue, as shown on this pie chart. We will see that our largest revenue category in broadband services, that is internet, okay, see broadband, 52%, set-top boxes, ad insertion category in broadband services, followed by golf revenue and other revenue, which includes class fees, electric vehicle charging revenue, additional occupant fees, equestrian center fees, and RV storage fees, user fees, in other words, among others. Clubhouse rentals and event fees and merchandise sales. These revenue categories offset costs and help keep assessments down. Slide 5. Consistent with prior months, our largest operating fund expense is compensation, followed by cable and programming expenses. Of the $44.1 million, excluding depreciation, these two categories amount for 69% of the total operating expense. Insurance, professional, legal, utilities and fuel, outside services, etc., make up the remaining 31%. Slide 6, the reserve and restricted funds adjusted balances are shown here. This is our money in the bank. Starting with the first column on the left, reserve funds have a combined ending balance of $44.7 million. Restricted fund balances have an ending balance of $2.8 million. Included in these totals are contributions received in 2024 through assessments, trust facility fees, and investment earnings. The second column shows the work in progress of $12.3 million for reserve and $0 for restricted, reflecting the amounts paid for projects and not yet completed. The third column represents the resulting adjusted fund balances, simply a net of the first two. For reserve, and $32.4 million for reserve and $2.8 million for the restricted. Slide 7. We have a slide here to show the resale history from 2022 to 2024. Community-wide sales totaled 762 through December 31st, 2024. Most of these transactions generate the trust facilities fee, the transfer fee, and are used as a source of revenue for our reserves. And I know that somebody out there is already calculating 762 times 7,500. Okay. Slide 8, the listing on this slide gives you an idea of where the reserve money is committed. These are future planned projects. Of $29.9 million appropriated by the board for various projects and equipment purchases, the remaining encumbrances against our reserves funds is $5.2 million, primarily for vehicles and renovation projects. Restricted funds had total appropriations of $47,000 for the West Creek Fuel Modification Project, which has been completed. In slide 9, we compare our adjusted fund balances to historical balances for the past 5 years. And on this chart, which shows that GRF has averaged $29.2 million in reserve funds and $2.7 million in contingency funds. And with that, we conclude the report from the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Allison. Does anybody have any questions? Nobody? Then we'll move on to the next one. Is the report of the Community Activities Committee. I will give the report this time. From next month, it will be Ellen. We had a pretty sedate meeting. Mostly it was discussion of the capital plan, and that was the main item that was being discussed. Besides, I don't think we had any other conversation. Is that correct? No. Then the next meeting of the CSE is going to be on the boardroom on February 13, 2025 at 1:30 p.m., which is next week. Next item is report of the Landscape Committee, Director Bhada, that's me. The committee met on December 11th, 2024. Next meeting is February 12th, 2025 at 1 p.m. at the boardroom. Okay, so see you all over there. Next item is report of Maintenance and Construction Committee. Director Reinhardt, are you available? Brad?
Yes, I'm available.
Okay, a little louder, please.
Let me see what I can do here and get the.
Okay.
There we go.
Can we turn the volume up?
Yep. So the Maintenance Construction Committee, I have not attended a meeting yet. I have had extensive conversations with Manuel, though, getting up to speed on projects, capital projects that we have listed for this coming fiscal year. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, February 12th at 9:30 in the morning in the boardroom.
Okay. Next item is report of the Energy Ad Hoc Committee. Director Durst.
Yes, we met at our initial meeting, and we had our initial meeting, and we went through a charter slash mission statement. Then we worked on a position description for a solar PV specialist, and we also worked on a major tasks item list in that process. We are currently looking to get data known as the green button data, which will tell us by facility when we use the most power in 15-minute increments, because almost half of our electricity bill is tied not to how many kilowatt we use, but the peak demand in the month's cycle. So to try and plan on how one, primarily what we need that for is to see if that is occurring after the sun goes down. Because if it does, then we need to look harder at batteries to be able to try and offset that. So anyway, that's where we're at now. Once we get that data, we will then call the next meeting and move forward from there.
The date is not set yet.
Date is not set yet.
Thank you. Okay, next is the Director Bach. Is it media communications or is it going to be just communications? Please
Well, now it's
put the
just,
record straight.
yeah, for the record, the committee is now just called COMM, C-O-M-M. We have so many C-O-M-Ms in our appellations here. This one is now just going to be called COMM. And we met January 24th. We went through the charter. We went through the huge amount of production that the department under Elise Rothrock produces, and on all different levels, reaching the community in ways that should suit absolutely everyone, whether they want to have paper and pencil or whether they want to have by the highest form of technology. So it was a productive meeting. We won't meet again. First of all, having the charter approved gives us a good path forward. We won't meet again until April. If I may go back, President Bada, I'd like to give just a brief report on the ad hoc revenue generating committee. We skipped that earlier.
Oh, we did? I'm so sorry.
14A, Section 3. So anyway, that group, very important group, met on January 20th. Consists of Kush and Andy and myself. And about 16 different revenue-generating ideas came out of that meeting. And it was meant to be an organizational meeting, it was, and just a free-flowing idea meeting. And out of that list of 16, some of them very tame ideas, and some of them a little more adventuresome, I've developed a grid to evaluate those ideas on 5 parameters in an attempt to winnow it down. The parameters are the number of staff that might be required for the idea, the physical space, the legal or contractual aspects needed, the time to implement the idea from short to long, and what we assess the member response might be, running from delight to mayhem. So hopefully the committee will evaluate those ideas. We'll get back together in a little while, a short time, and look at those ideas, how they rank, and then put pencil to paper on the financials, the costs of implementing and the ROI. The goal is, of course, to try to raise those revenues by 10%. We'll see what we can do with that. So that's the report on that committee. Anybody who wants a copy of the projects and the rating scale, I'll be glad to give it to you. Thank you.
So are you done with your?
I am done.
Okay. Okay, report of the broadband ad hoc committee, Director Rosa.
Good morning, President. The closed committee, which is going to be taking on the media portion of the old M&C, Media and Communications. Media is just another layer of the OSI 7-layer model. At any rate, we're going to be taking that on. We did have a meeting back on November 18th. We know we're going to have a meeting on February 6th at 1:30 at the Sycamore Room, but there's also going to be a late meeting that's going to occur, a 4 p.m. meeting sometime in February, probably mid-February, with all that's going on. We need another meeting in there. So that's all I have to report right now for broadband. Thank you.
Okay, carrying on, report of the Mobility and Vehicles Committee, Director Stephen Leonard.
Quick question, Director Rosa. The agenda says the next meeting is March 6th. Yes. Is it February 6th or March 6th?
There's one February 6th, correct. But there will be another one.
Okay. So it's not that.
It's not the next meeting. There is a meeting on February 6th, but there will be another meeting layered in there in February.
Okay, so February 6th. Thank you. My report on mobility and vehicles. We have a meeting coming up on February the 5th, and I'm looking forward to getting some new information from staff and some recommendations on some vehicle purchases, change in purchasing policy, and recommendations about the bus service going forward. So it will be an interesting meeting for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Report of the Security and Community Activities Committee, Director Gart Hoffner.
Well, we have not yet met. We will meet on February 26th, and I will take any suggestions that you have for the agenda or request for agenda item and consider it to be added to the agenda. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Report of the Laguna Woods Village traffic hearing. Director Stephen Leonard, were you the person?
That's
attending
not
that?
me, no.
Okay.
Who
Would it be Ellen?
was
were
that?
you?
Ellen?
Oh,
The-
yes, I'll be attending for.
Well,
Well, who was there for the last one?
I'm the regular member, she's the alternate.
Alternate.
And as it worked out, neither one of us managed to make the last meeting.
Oh, okay, so please.
I was in surgery.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was my oversight.
No worries. Okay, next meeting is on February 19th at 9 a.m. in the boardroom. Okay. All right.
I should be able to make that.
Next item is Executive Member Hearing Committee. Director Coben is not here. Director Bach, do you have any update?
Just that we will meet again on Thursday, this coming Thursday. I think we only have one case to hear.
Okay. All right. Mr. Rosa, you can attend if you like. Next item, report of the Disaster Preparedness Task Force. Director Rosa.
Yes, the task force met on January 28th, 26th, and our next meeting is on March 25th, 25, 9:30 here in the boardroom, as well as Zoom in. The last meeting, where there's a lot of attention done to fire, wildfires, and all that was going on, and preparedness, and we know that something to that nature is quite dynamic, that you don't know which direction you're going to be led to go in the event of an emergency, whether it's an evacuation or a shelter in place. The main thing is to be connected with the red code, and being prepared to help your neighbor as well. There was a report given on the amateur radio club antenna installations that have been occurring at the clubhouses. They're going to test this month on at least 5 of the 7. I think they can do a preliminary test with the other 2 places in place. Clubhouse 6, I believe it is, in the Part 3. But amateur radio connection is an important secondary connection when it comes to a disaster. Sometimes that's the only way information gets in and out when cell systems are down or two-way radio is out for the public safety. So anyways, that's all I got.
Okay. Next item, and probably the last one, is the Information Technology Advisory Committee. Director Rosa?
Yes, we had a closed meeting last Friday on January 31, and our next meeting, virtual meeting, will be on February 28, 2025 at 1:30.
Okay, with that, we are done with all the committee reports. Let's go around and have some director comments. We'll start with Andy. No comment. No comment.
In case you missed it, it was United, I think, that brought in the water district GM.
Yes.
I mean, if you missed it, go back and look it up. Get it pulled up. The presentation that guy made was just blow your socks off. It was so good. He was on top of everything. He knew exactly where he was. He said it in a language that almost anybody could understand. He didn't do it at a techie level. He did it and he walked you through what they do with the fire hydrants and how they flush things and their backups on water, where like they got 4 different ways to get water in here, and the emphasis was on what would happen in case of a fire or anything like that. And he was real realistic about what they could and couldn't do, how far they could go, the reservoir that they've got to draw on. But anyway, I would urge anyone who didn't get a chance to see that to go look it up, because I'm sure it was recorded. It was an excellent program.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Ellen?
Most likely on YouTube, because
Yeah, I
we
think
don't.
it was.
Probably. The CAC has their meeting on the 13th at 1:30. If anybody can attend, I suggest attend. CAC covers all the activities in the community and at the clubhouses. So, yeah, look forward to seeing you there. And I think that's it for me. Oh, senior mobility. I think that, I'm going to mention that again, and I don't think we can mention it enough. Senior mobility, you have to go to the City of Laguna Woods, to their office, and they sign you up. You have to bring your resident ID. And you call them, and they'll take you to the airport. They'll take you wherever you want to go. And a lot of the areas around us are free. Thank you.
I've been doing a little Reebok research. You know what Reebok research is? You know, you put your sneakers on and go look for yourself, and see what's really going on. Around the topic of handicap parking spots at the clubs, a member observed to me and asked that we look into, do we have enough handicap parking spaces around the clubs and the CC particularly, that when we have large-scale events, there's a maximum number of 12 that I found at club. They range from 2, 4, 11, 12, and these big parking lots. And if you have a crowd of people attending something, that may not be sufficient, especially when people who are not handicapped, sort of camp out in the spaces. So I'm sure we're in compliance legally as to the number we have to have, but is it enough, or should we consider adding some and then patrolling better on misuse of them?
We'll check. Yes, Martin.
I'm excited to continue to work further with our board here. I think we have a good board, good leadership. Congratulations to Bill. It's amazing. Very proud of him. And good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Egon?
No comment, thanks.
Steve?
Nothing.
Okay. Staff, do you have any comments? No? Well, I have no further comment. We've spoken a lot. And, Brad, do you have any comment?
I have one comment. I heard when they talked about the OCFA not being willing to take down live trees. I think we have a unique opportunity in our village to try and protect it and enhance that protection as much as possible, especially given Santa Ana winds and wildfires that we've seen in other parts of Southern California. The one area that I've had particular trouble with is, since I live over by Ridge Route, the fact that we have a large overgrown tree line on inside the wall, a large overgrown tree line outside the wall that's adjacent to above ground power lines. So I had recommended to Kurt that we look at asking OCTA to remove the tree line on the outside of the wall, considering they could look at our tree line, which is on the inside of the wall. But if they're not willing to do that, I mean, the other suggestion is to look at what it would cost and request that they move those power lines underground. And I haven't looked at our entire perimeter, but I think as we go through this fire assessment in March, we need to do it, and we need to have common sense, and we need to push back on them telling us that everything's just fine. Because I personally don't feel like everything's just fine in my small area, and I'm sure there's other people that feel that way as well. We need to have a more robust view and defense of our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. With that, we come to the end of our, no, let's look over here. So we recess now for our closed session, and we'll be back at 12:30?
No, make it 12:15.
12:15, okay. Whatever you say. Thank you.
22.
It's 11:39, so it's 11:40.